guys, the Fantasy Professor here, back with another video. As you can see, this is November 2nd, but let me go over some of the plays that I mentioned in today's video, actually. So these are some of the guys that obviously did pretty amazing. If you use these guys, you probably won some of your lineups tonight. James Harden, for instance, 66 fantasy points, 66.5, I mean. KCP, who I mentioned to put in every lineup, 34 fantasy points. Jimmy Butler, 37 fantasy points. Tobias Harris, 31 fantasy points. Marcus Gasol, 39.75. Marcin Gortat, 37.5. He was projected to be 25 fantasy points, but he exceeded expectations. So that's nothing better than that. At $5,000, take that any day for center. Larry Nance, who I also mentioned, 1% owned in the GPP that I played today. He was 29.75. So he played as if his salary was 5 to 6K. So I think that's pretty outstanding. Also, you got Carmelo Anthony, 31.25. Now, that's obviously not where I think seasonally he should be, but you never know. He always has a chance to explode at any given moment. Of course, today was not the day because James Harden came and ruined everything. So, DeMar DeRozan, 57.75. He just totally destroyed the Wizards. I know he got injured, but he also came back into the game. John Wall also, I did not mention him in the video. Should have. Would have won in GPP, but sucks, man. John Wall had like 62 fantasy points, something like that. He was just like on fire. But he also had 8 turnovers as well, which is like, I don't know. Not a typical game from him, turning it over. That's like Emmanuel Mudiay kind. All right, Rajon Rondo against his former team, 35.5 fantasy points. Dwight Howard, 49.25. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but instead, the Lakers ended up winning that game, surprisingly. But, the World Series is on. It's delayed. So I was like, you know what? I should just make this video. Amir Johnson, 47 fantasy points at $3,900. That's insane. 47. I feel like every single time he starts, he just explodes, and I never have him on my fantasy teams. Also, a guy that was 0.8% owned in the GPP, the big one, the 600K, Brook Lopez. He went off for 55 fantasy points, and he had 4 3-pointers. And I did not have him in my lineup. I was so mad. I'm so sorry that I did not mention him in any of these picks. So let's get started. Obviously, you guys came here for a reason. We recapped all the picks that I mentioned in my video. So if you stay tuned to watch all my videos, I'm going to help you guys out more and more as the weeks go by. So November 2nd, this is for Draftkings. If you're looking for FanDuel, this is a wrong video for you. So this is strictly Draftkings. That's all I play. So let's get started. So as you can see, the first game of the night is Sacramento versus Orlando. The over-under is 203. Some of the plays I liked on Sacramento's side, Rudy Gay, 6,500. His last game, he had 50 fantasy points against the Miami Heat. Now, except for that missed air ball buzzer beater, he's going to get you a solid 30 or 40 fantasy points per game, especially against this horrible, horrible Orlando team. But you never know with Aaron Gordon. Also something to look out for. Also, I like Matt Barnes at 4K. I feel like he can easily exceed value at any given point. He's like one of those like ticking time bombs, I would say, and he just waits for the right moment. Oh, plus he's also a revenge game because he used to play for Orlando as well. Matt Barnes has been like all over the league, so it's basically like I saw something like he's been on like 8 or 9 teams or something like that, which is crazy. So it's like 1/3 of all his games he's facing his former teams. So if you like the revenge narrative, there you go. Also, DeMarcus Cousins against Orlando. Nobody's going to stop him on Orlando's side. So go ahead, put him in your lineups. And speaking of Orlando, you got Elfrid Payton at 6K. Last game against Miami, he had it wasn't against Miami. I forgot who it was. He had 47 fantasy points, which is phenomenal for him, considering the guy can't shoot for his life. But surprisingly, he's actually making some free throws this year, so changing it up a little bit. 6K, his price is elevated, but he's a starting point guard, and he's an easily can be a walking double-double, not triple-double. That's Rondo. Also, I like Nick Vucevic, 6,400. I like Cousins more because if Cousins and Vucevic are on each other, Vucevic plays absolutely no defense. So I have no problem having DeMarcus Cousins against him. But on the flip side, Vucevic is going to give you those points, assists, steals, rebounds. He's basically those all-around centers, and he has that sweet, sweet jump shot. Aaron Gordon, 5,700, also intrigues me a little bit. I don't really like Ibaka tonight, but I can see Aaron Gordon versus Rudy Gay defense. Horrible matchup for Rudy Gay. He can definitely exceed value, multiply it by 6 or 7. Yeah, 6 or 7, I would say. I feel like he's going to give you at least 30 fantasy points minimum, and the ceiling be 40, I would say. 40 is the ceiling. Also, Evan Fournier, 6,100. His shot has not been falling recently. That also shows to the lowered price because he used to be like 7K, 8K. Now, obviously, he's 61K. So, if you want to take a hit on him, go right ahead. All right, next game we got Boston versus Cleveland. Some guys that I like. Oh, let me tell you about the injury history. So, Jay Crowder actually got injured tonight in tonight's game. So, with that being said, I feel like Jaylen Brown's going to be inserted into the starting lineup. Now, I don't know how he'll match up against LeBron James in this matchup. Hopefully, Cleveland rests LeBron James or some of their starters to give them a fair share. But obviously, with the NBA, nothing's predictable. So, with that being said, I like Jaylen Brown at 3,300. If he's getting starter minutes and how he played in the preseason, I could see him having at least 15 to 20 fantasy points minimum. Also, I like Amir Johnson. Obviously, you can see here, I mentioned him, but I didn't put him in any of my lineups. It stings because I really wanted to win today. So does everyone else, Amir Johnson, 4,700. 47. 47 fantasy points in his last game, obviously. At 3,900, I feel like he can match up against Tristan Thompson. Hopefully. Also, I like Terry Rozier. It's a back-to-back for the Celtics. So in case they rest Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, and then Marcus Smart is also coming back. I did not write him on there. But if you want to plug in Marcus Smart, take a flyer on him or Terry Rozier. I feel like they'll split minutes in the backcourt because both of them are, Isaiah and Avery are banged up a little bit. On the flip side, you got Cleveland's big three, Kyrie Irving, 7,600, LBJ, 9,600, K Love, 7,100, and Tristan Thompson, 4,200. You can experiment a little bit, but obviously this is where you want to build your lineups around OKC, Golden State, and I'll show you how to do that right at the end of the video. All right, next game. We got Denver and Minnesota. The over-under is 205. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get to mention Cleveland's over-under. It's 210, so it's going to be a high-scoring game, but without Jay Crowder, it might be a little lower than that. Denver and Minnesota, 205 over-under. You got Emmanuel Mudiay going up against Chris Dunn. Now, Chris Dunn's a good defender. I actually see a lot of similarities now that I'm thinking about it between Mudiay and Chris Dunn. They're both insanely good point guards. If you watch their highlights, I know Emmanuel Mudiay did not go to college, but when he went overseas and did that, I think he played in China. He was actually really, really good. But he can't shoot for his life, obviously. He's like less than a 25% three-point shooter, and Chris Dunn as well. They're like both these guys remind me of John Wall, but like younger, raw versions of them. Mudiay, 6,000 going up against a rookie, Chris Dunn. Mudiay has more experience. He's been doing well this year, so I feel like this is a good spot for him going up against a rookie who just got the starting gig because Rubio's out. Jamal Murray, 3,700. I saw something today that Will Barton and Gary Harris are going to be out, which is going to open up minutes for Jamal Murray. 3,700, plug and play. He might be the punt play of the day. You never know. Also, two guys, if you want to pick them both or one or the other, Nikola Jokic and Jusuf Nurkic. I don't know, their names, they sound like brothers, but obviously they're not. Both are similarly priced, 6,500 and 68. You can play them both, stack this game, but obviously, like I said, you want to stack this game. You can see that over-under. We'll get into that in a second. Yeah, so that covers that game. All right, next game we got Milwaukee and Indiana. Guys, you want to target Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that's how you say his name. 9,000. Tony Snell, 3,400. Now I had Tony Snell in one lineup. He was 0.05% owned, so he was less than 1% owned. And for 3,400, he might be the punt play of the day. He played 37 minutes, so he gives you good return on that if he's not going up against Paul George. But if he's coming off the bench, he's playing against C.J. Miles, who's also coming back off an injury. I like that matchup a lot more. It's more favorable for him. So that covers him. Also, I like Matthew Dellavedova, 4,700 going up against Monte Ellis defense. If Matthew Dellavedova is starting, I feel like it's in Milwaukee, but I think I wrote it wrong. But if it is in Milwaukee, I feel like Dellavedova's in a solid spot. I just realized now that I totally skipped over this Minnesota team. So if we want to go into that, I just said the whole starting five because honestly, you can play this whole starting five and you would still cash out in money. Cat 8,700, Dang 67, Wiggins 61, Levine 62. He also had 31 actual points, so he's a great option if you're in need of a shooting guard. And obviously Chris Dunn, he's going to be playing 30 to 35 minutes with Tyus Jones backing him up for the rest. I like Zach LaVine going up against Jamal Murray because Jamal Murray's a rookie. LaVine's been in the league for 2 or 3 years now. He has more experience under his belt, and I feel like this can be a blowout, which is shocking. But because look at how high the over/under 205, but you never know. Dang, Jokic, and Cat and Nurkic. I feel like this front court of Dang and Cat can easily put some numbers on Jokic and Nurkic, but I could be wrong. I'm not perfect. Obviously, I've messed up in my other videos. I gave you guys picks like Solomon Hill. I thought he was going to be really well today. He only had 34. He was 3,400, and he only had 5 fantasy points. No, sorry, 4.75. So he did worse than that. So not always right, but I'm giving you guys some helpful tips on building your roster constructions for tonight. 8,700 Cat and Dang. I like this front court duo. Dang just signed his 4-year, $64 million contract extension. So he's playing with motivation right now. This man is paid, okay? So getting back into this game, Milwaukee and Indiana. So we covered that. Now we're on this game. Covered all these guys, Giannis, Tony Snell, Dellavedova. On Indiana's side, we got Paul George, PG-13 at 8,400. I feel like he's priced very low because he's usually around that 9 to 10K range because he's just a superstar. I feel like he's at least a top, I don't want to say top 5. I want to say like top 6, top 7 player in the league. He is just an animal. Like, I live in Florida, and just watching him going up against Paul George in that series, oh my God, like those, 2 or 3 years, those series, and the Heat would beat them every single time. I felt like that would always give Paul George motivation to like move his way up to the top, but no, he can never get over that hump because his team was never as talented as Miami's, obviously. So I like him. I don't know why I just said that, but Paul George, 8,400, going up, probably is going to match up against Giannis. I would say, yeah, that seems likely because he has the quickness to keep up with him as well. Because Paul George also does play point guard. I know it's kind of surprising, but you see him a lot bring the ball up. Jeff Teague's not in. Aaron Brooks. You know what? If you want to maybe use Aaron Brooks for tonight, he also might be a punt play. Milwaukee's not very good at playing defense, obviously. Even with Giannis, like, you would think he's going to be a defensive stud, but he's just a dud right now. I also like Thaddeus Young, 5,900. going up against, who's their power forward? Teletovic. I like Thaddeus Young in that matchup. 5,900, great price. He's going to give you great production as well, even on the road. Another guy I like, one of the best plays in the night, Miles Turner, going up against Miles Plumlee and Greg Monroe. Right there. One of the top plays of the night. Give that a little check. Miles Turner going up against Greg Monroe and what's that? Miles Plumlee defense. I'll put him in, I would say, 75% of my lineups tonight. All right, best for last. Here we go. We got OKC at Golden State. Now, the over-under is 223. Like, how crazy is that? 223? I've never seen that as an over-under ever. But this game has insane upside, and it also has insane downside as well. And I'll get into that why. All right, Westbrook, obviously, we all know the studs. We're all playing these guys. We're all playing Westbrook and where's Durant? Right there. We're just checking them off right now. Westbrook's automatic play, what is he, 12,900? Yeah, 12,900. He's going up against Durant. He's mad at Durant for leaving. Obviously, he doesn't want to show it in I would say public, person. They're not really talking. They're not friends right now. KD betrayed his own team. He's a pussy, in my opinion. He's just a loser. He's a sore loser. I mean, he had it. He was up 3-1, and he couldn't get over the hump. Just like this Cubs-Indians game right now. Cavs couldn't win. The Indians couldn't win it. So, back to that, 12,900. I feel like he has a solid floor of 50 tonight with upside over... I feel like his ceiling will be 90 fantasy points if I'm just going to be, like, insanely abstract about that. Yeah, I totally think he can get you there. If you don't have Westbrook and KD in your lineups, you're not going to win tonight. And that's just the bottom line. I know these two combined take up almost 50% of your cap space, which will also need to spend down somewhere. That's where you got guys like Jaylen Brown, Amir Johnson, and a lot of these other punt plays that I'll talk about in a second. All right, so getting back to the Thunder side, if Westbrook, let's just say he gets injured or something, who's going to score? You got Oladipo, 6,600. Now, they're on a back-to-back as well, so I don't know if we're going to get the full-out Westbrook. I know that we're going to get the full-out Durant. This game means a lot to Durant, and he knows it. This means a lot to Westbrook, and he knows it. I just want to see one play where Westbrook just comes in, flies, and just dunks the shit out of KD, and KD falls down and he starts crying. That'll be like, nothing will be better than that. That'll make my night right there. Even if I lose in DFS, nothing better than that. All right, let's get back on topic. Oladipo, 6,600. Great price. Great production as well. Now, a lot of these guys are getting injured. I looked today. There was 7 injuries tonight. Jeremy Lin, for instance. Jay Crowder, another guy. They might want to rest him, but I feel like he's going to be ready for this game against Durant. Oladipo matches up well against Thompson. Oladipo can play some solid defense at a certain amount of times. And the last guy I want to talk about, also with consideration, Steven Adams, 5,900. Really like his price on DK, 5,900. He's going up against Zaza Pachulia, who is, I'll give him a mid-tier. He's obviously a lot worse on defense than Andrew Bogut, but he is the third alpha on this team. It goes Westbrook, Oladipo, and Steven Adams as well. Small forward for OKC, Kyle Sigler against Kevin Durant. There's no chance that's going to work out. So, that being said, I would also like to give consideration to, how do you say, Jermaine Grant? Darian Grant, whatever his name is. I don't see his price on DK. They say that he's not going to acquire fantasy points at the moment, but later on the day, I'm recording this at night. So, it's like 11:30 at night. So, take that into consideration as well. So these picks, some person might be out or something like that. Don't take these picks and just feel like, oh, like he's 100% right, because you might see later on the day, let's say Moutier is sitting out or something. I don't know. So you got to always keep up with these websites. And I'll give you some to think about after I'm done with this spiel. Okay. Hermione Grant also, I feel like he is much better option than Kevin Durant, that's for sure. Because who's going to guard KD? If Westbrook's guarding Curry and Adams is on Pachulia, that leaves Klay Thompson. Well, actually, you'll be on Oladipo. So you got you got KD and Draymond matched up against Kyle Sigler and Domantas Sabonis, because they just traded away Ilyasova. So right there, if you want to target two guys, obviously you can see KD and Draymond Green as well. KD is a lock. Westbrook's a lock. Miles Turner I wouldn't say he's a lock, but I also said 75% of lineups. I don't know. Thinking about it now, I feel like I'll lower it a little bit. Maybe it'll be like 60-40 or something, because I need to fit these guys into all my lineups, regardless of any doubt, because KD has 50-point floor with also 100 fantasy point upside as well. So if these two give you almost 100 fantasy points, all you need to do is punt out the rest, and you'll win. You just need the right combination. It's all about getting the right combination. That's why I'm here to help you. Draymond Green, 7,800. Great play. Going against a rookie? Are you kidding me? If you wanted to do Westbrook, Durant, and Draymond Green, that's tough. I would definitely have to consider that. You know what? I'm going to make one line of Westbrook, KD, and Draymond Green, because I feel like those three I'd say they have almost a 200-point floor with over 200 upside. Also, guys, you should consider Stephen Curry going against Westbrook. Awful defense. 8,800, great price. Klay Thompson as well, 6,300. I feel like he's so underpriced. But you know what? It's because he's giving up shots to Durant, and that's why his price is so low. He's not doing as well as he was in his previous form. Now, with that being said, this is all done for this slate. So let me tell you about some websites that I use. I use rotoworld.com to get all my updates and news about players. So I do that. I check it about 20 to 25 times per day, because I don't know. I want to know who's playing, who's not playing. Should I change my my picks, predictions, stuff like that, whatever. Also, I like to use fantasyalarm.com. Also, they give me anytime they get news, sends right to my phone. I just go on their website. They also have apps as well. Take that into consideration. But yeah, so let's get right into my lineup of the night. Alright guys, so here's my lineup of the night. As you can see, Westbrook at the point guard, Zach LaVine at the shooting guard, Kevin Durant at the small forward, Draymond Green at the power forward, Amir Johnson at the center, Tyus Jones at the guard, Mike Dunleavy at the forward, and Ben McLemore at the utility. Now, as I mentioned in my video, I like using Westbrook and Durant in the same lineup, but that also limits you to using only mid-tier semi-elite guys. I also mentioned that I like Draymond Green in this specific spot. I feel like he's a phenomenal play, and he's going to go very under-owned because everyone's going to be wanting Westbrook and Durant. But if you don't have those guys and they go off, you're probably going to lose the GPP. They're as safe as anything in cash, but if you want to go contrarian, there are other options that you can look at. But here's my lineup for tonight.